The prayers offered by Lord Shiva are very authoritative and significant. Simply by offering prayers to the Supreme Lord, one can become perfect, even though engaged in his occupational duty. The real purpose of life is to become a devotee of the Lord. It does not matter where one is situated, whether one is a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, American, Englishman, Indian, etc. One can execute devotional service anywhere and everywhere in the material existence, simply by offering prayers unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is also a prayer, for a prayer addresses the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his name and invokes good fortune by petitioning the Lord to allow one to engage in his devotional service. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra also says, My dear Lord Krishna, my dear Lord Ram, O energy of the Lord, Hare, kindly engage me in your service. Although one may be situated in a lowly position, he can execute devotional service under any circumstance, as stated. Ahaituki apratihata. Devotional service cannot be checked by any material condition. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also recommended this process. Jnane prayasam udapasthanamanteva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam sthane sthita shutigatam tanuvan manobhir ye prayaso jita jetopi asitaistri lokyam. One remains even in one place or in his own occupational duty and still lend his ear to receive the message of the Lord from realized souls. Krishna conscious movement is based on this principle, and we are opening centers all over the world to give everyone a chance to hear the message of Lord Krishna in order to go back home, back to Godhead. Two aspects are very prominent in Vedic instructions. The Vedic instructions are always talking to us to increase the spiritual quotient of our lives. Now, the thing has gone a bit loose. So, the Shastric instructions never focus on too much of material adjustments. Why? Because two reasons. One is that no material situation is perfect and complete. Any kind of material situation will have incompleteness and inabilities associated with it. And therefore, whatever adjustments one may do, something is going to be problematic in every setting. So therefore, there is not much point in trying to settle one material setting. So that is one aspect which is being highlighted. The second aspect is that everything can be offered to the Supreme Lord. So it doesn't matter what one has materially. Everything can be offered to the Supreme Lord. Because behind any manifestation of material energy, there is a Supreme Lord. So one can actually offer anything and everything. So now, therefore it is said, that's what Lord Shiva is telling. You don't have to change your situation. You can be kings, no problem. But you chant the holy names. You chant the holy glories of the Lord. So it doesn't matter even if you're kings, you can still go back to garden. Even if you're not kings, still you can go back to garden. So we should not think, oh, as a king one can go back to garden. No, even if you're not kings, you can still go back to garden. It doesn't matter what material setting. Therefore, not to work too hard for material settings. That's the point. So now, so what should be done? What should basically be done? Now, because many times, see, Lord Shiva is very clear. Lord Shiva has given, the Divyagyan to the Prachetas. Lord Shiva is now telling that you go on serving Krishna. In whatever position you are, you will be able to serve Krishna. That's fine. But just few verses before, Lord Shiva has already warned them. And that is a very interesting direction for us. So many times we may say, okay, okay, what should I materially do if I want to practice Krishna consciousness? If you are not clear, we are not doing anything materially, that is also okay, no problem. Because it doesn't matter. Like you have exams around. In an exam, something which is out of syllabus, whether you study it or don't study it, does it matter? It doesn't matter. If you study it, you will just have a feel-good feeling. Is it? You may be able to speak an extra point in the class, but that won't get you marks. Maybe the professor will become a bit little favorable. If you don't know, doesn't matter. Anyways, you can still get 100 marks. Is it not? That's the whole point. So materially speaking, whether we do something, don't do something, half do something, doesn't matter much. Therefore, it is said, don't take too much fuss about material settings. So every material setting has its own problem. Now, therefore, it is said that, it's not that, okay, that means we can just continue whatever we are doing. Is that what is the instruction just given? And try to chant. But if you are working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, where will you get time to chant? Isn't that? Unless okay, Sthane Sita, Shrutigata, the Sthane Sita is all fine, but Shrutigata, you need some time, is it not? So the first principle to note, Lord Shiva has already told that principle beforehand. Now he is dispatching, he's blessing the Prachetas, he's going, okay, you go forward, go ahead. But before he's blessing the Prachetas, Lord Shiva has already given them the warning. What is supposed to be done? Lord Shiva is telling them, don't drive on the ground of greed. We just read that verse, is it not? So first and the foremost thing which all of us need to do is to gear down in our material race. so as to create space. You know? So as to create space. So we need to go down in our material rays and chase to create space. It's very simple. And you see, Lord Shiva has already told the Prachetas about this. That ruler which is driven by greed, we just read it, is a nonsense. He is not doing any benefit to anyone. He's simply feeding himself. Don't be such a ruler. Already, Lord Shiva has told them. And if this point is accepted, then there will be a lot of space. Then Lord Shiva is telling me anywhere, it doesn't matter. This is not. That's the point. So in any, so suppose one is in a material profile, material setting, if one gives up the ambition of a promotion, one can peacefully exist. Radhesham Prabhu clearly tells, okay, after passing out, our performance should not be 9-pointer performance, just above average. Finish. Average, just a little above average. So that if recession comes, we are not thrown off. We are a little above that. So that's good enough. Then that will create space. And that space we can practice Krishna consciousness. Is it not? So the factor of greed has to be controlled. That's the point. Sane Sita, to understand Sane Sita, one has to understand the previous verse about the greed. Is it not? And if you understand that verse, then Sane Sita is applicable. The Sane Sita is only applicable when one gives up the greed. The drive for greed. No, that drive has to be given up. Then one can understand. Then there is space for Krishna. Interesting, no? This is the point. So that is why sometimes by reading one verse we will not understand. We have to read all the prayers. So we say, oh, Lord Shiva is telling, So I can continue. No. Lord Shiva, this is the ending verse. First read all the previous 50 verses. Lord Shiva has spoken. If you read all the 50 verses, everything will be set right. Is it not? That's the point. So sometimes, therefore, the message cannot be broken down. We won't understand. It will be a misinterpretation. The message has to be accepted holistically. So Lord Shiva has already given the safety mantra, the security mantra, the stability mantra to the Prachetas by telling them, don't drive on the trajectories of greed. Gear down. Gear down. Better be Sharnagat on the Supreme Lord, understanding that Krishna is Suhurat. Krishna will arrange situations. So let me take shelter of Krishna. Let me encourage everyone to take shelter of Krishna. That's the point. That's interesting. Simple, yeah, natural and simple. Yeah. Yes. So you see, Lord Shiva, he is not making a big palace, $100 million palace, or he has not made a palace. He is just staying in Kailash and performing his devotional service. But some verses back, when we read the description, the previous chapter, I believe, when the Prachetas happened to encounter Lord Shiva, there is a description about the opulence of Kailash. Kailash is not like Calcutta city. It's heaven and hell. So Kailash was very opulent, very superbly beautiful and superbly opulent. So Lord Shiva is not making his own $100 million palace, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead gave him a natural palace to stay. You see the point? This is called as dependence on the Lord. You know, this is called as dependence on the Lord, is it not? But in Calcutta, if you go, people spend millions of rupees, crores of rupees to get a very posh flat, the building, but just outside the building there is gutter, and slums, and so on and so forth, and absolutely dirty, is it not? So, so you see the point. The point is, the man may endeavor, oh, I'll make a very beautiful palace for myself first, and he spends all his time and energy. But that also becomes a shabby affair. Like you see that Ideal Exotica was there. You remember that place, Ideal Exotica, in front of that Alipur, that 22 story. It looks very elegant. Just beside is slum. Just outside is that old garbage dump. Is it not? And dogs are moving around. Huh? Huh. And slum people are staying around, rearing the dogs and all that. So, so, yeah. Yeah, rather they're seeing Exotica much more than the people who are staying inside. They only see the walls. They only see the walls, right? So you see the point. The point is, then what is the point in running behind man-made, artificial opulence and security and all that? If Krishna wants to arrange, he can arrange natural opulences like Kailash. You see the opulence of Vaikuntha. The devotees don't have to do anything. Everything is just available for them. Pearls, emeralds, everything is just available for them. They don't ride on scooty. In the Vaikuntha, there is no scooty. There are planes, chartered planes. Is it not? There's no scooty there. They don't have to fill petrol. It just flies. You chant Hare Krishna, it keep flying. You start doing self-certification, it topple you off. They keep chanting, it'll take you anywhere and everywhere. So dare not stop chanting, like that. So you see the point. The fuel is the holy name, the glories of the Lord. Everything manifest. One doesn't have to do anything. There's no security, no granary is required, no cold storage required, no bank balance required. Kalpa Vriksha tree. Want to eat anything? Whatever you say, give you. You say I'm going to somewhere, I need one year of food, you get 1 year of food. No deposit required. Is it not? Surabhi cows, you can get any amount of milk you want. You can bathe with milk, That's spiritual world. So you see the point. This is what dependence can lead to. If Krishna wants, he can give everything. So Lord Shiva not a beggar. Lord Shiva is staying in the most opulent. He's not a beggar. He's staying in the most opulent place. Where there are natural pearls and rubies. There are lakes and everything. Crystal clear water lakes. Mesmerizing fragrance. They don't have to put DO and all that. He's not a beggar. Krishna is arranging for him. Is it not? You see the point. So therefore, one needs to depend on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, so that's the point. The point is to be Krishna conscious, is it not? Huh? Right. Yeah, so they have a rat, and Krishna empowers that rat to make them do unbelievable things, is it not? And we carry supercomputer, GPU laptops, but at the right time it stops functioning. That's the point, is it not? Tamevatmanam atmastham sarvabhutesham avasthitam pujayadvam grinantascha dhyayantas chashakridharim. Therefore, O sons of the king, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari is situated in everyone's heart. He is also within your hearts. Therefore, chant the glories of the Lord and always meditate upon Him continuously. The word asakrit is significant, for it means not just for a few minutes, but continuously. That is the instruction given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Shikshashtak. Kirtanya Sadahari. The holy name of the Lord should be chanted 24 hours daily. Therefore, in Krishna consciousness movement, we request the devotees to chant at least 16 rounds on their beads daily. Actually, one has to chant 24 hours daily, just like Haridas Thakur, who was chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 300,000 times daily. 108, no? 300,000? 190? 192 rounds. Oh, 192 rounds, yeah. Yeah, 22 hours he would chant, no? Yeah, 22 hours at least he would chant. Yeah. Yes. So one has to chant. So Thakur Haridas, indeed he had no other business. Some of the Goswamis like Raghunath Das Goswami were also chanting very rigidly and also offering obeisances very rigidly, as stated in the Srinivas Acharya's prayer to the six Goswami, Shad Goswami Ashtaka. Sankhya Purva Kalamagana Kalavasani Krito. The word Sankhya Purvak means maintaining a numerical strength. Not only was Raghunath Das Goswami chanting the holy name of the Lord, but he was also offering obeisances in the same prolific numbers. Because the princes were ready to enter into some severe austerity in order to worship the Lord, Lord Shiva advised them to constantly chant of and meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is significant that Lord Shiva personally offered his prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just as he was taught by his father. Lord Brahma. Similarly, he was also preaching to the princes according to the Parampara system. So one should not only practice the instructions received from the spiritual master, but should also distribute this knowledge to one's disciples. The words Atmanam Atmastam Sarvabhuteshu Avishtatam are also significant. The personality of Godhead is the origin of all the living entities. Because the living entities are parts and parcels of the Lord, He is the Father of all of them. One can search out the Supreme Lord very easily within one's heart. For He is situated in every living entity's heart. In this verse, the process of worshipping the Lord is considered to be very easy and complete. For anyone can sit down anywhere, in any condition of life, and simply chant the holy names of the Lord. By chanting and hearing, one automatically engages in meditation. So the Vedic injunction is very clear. It is not that you see what is explained is that when it comes to it is not that you see when it comes to see one should not be indiscriminately acting on the material plane. If you read the Bhagavad Gita also, the Lord many times says, on the material plane, if you're not sure, don't act. Don't act if you're not sure. So to modulate and regulate the activity on the material plane, the drive of greed and lust forces a person to indiscriminately just go on acting. Just go on acting. Like Prabhupada gives a simple example. If you are unsure whether a particular road will take you to the destination, don't go fast like a madman. The faster you go, after 100 kilometers, you get to know that you're going wrong. You have to go back 100 kilometers. Is it not? Better go slow. Better be first, better go slow. Better find somebody, take some guidance. And only when one is able to ascertain this is the path, then speed. So material life, there is no point in speeding up indiscriminately. That is why it is said that okay, whichever material situation, better focus on chanting and meditating on the Lord and then serving Krishna. So when there is increase in chanting and meditating and serving the Lord, then one is able to see material situations in a better perspective. And now action becomes more meaningful. Now, when you're able to see things in a proper perspective, better to act at that time. That is the point. So there is no point in dashing around materially, than getting wounded and then being hospitalized, is it not? So better to be careful. That's why so sometimes people say that okay, devotees seem to be doing too many activities. So where is time for uh, uh, then where is time for studies? Where is time for career? Where is time for so it is better to have lesser time and utilize it meaningfully than having all the time and being defocused. Is it not? So that's the whole point. So sometimes mind may say, oh, you're a devotee, see 2 hours you're chanting, The 2 hours you're, so okay, we chant 2 hours, we may be only able to sit for 3 hours to study, but those 3 hours are going to be at least focused, is it not? Because you know that now you're studying, is it not? Rather than sitting whole day for studies and coverage is nothing. Because in between their friends and there are daydreaming, and there is planning what to do after exams, and so on and so forth. So, right, or which US university to apply to, and so on and so forth. So, uh, so so better to be focused in spiritual life, and then in a regulated and focused manner perform the material duty. Therefore, it is said, okay, that better engage in chanting and meditating on the Lord profusely. Gear up there and don't take a gear on the material drive till there is sufficient spiritual substance. Is it not? So spiritual substance gives directionality. Material terrains, the drives of greed and lust, are all random motion, and randomness simply increases heat and leads to accident. That's the point we have to remember. Therefore, Lord Shiva is telling that the Lord is within your heart. So you just chant and meditate, and Krishna will help you. So you just go on chanting the holy names of the Lord, and Krishna will help you. That's the point which is being very beautifully explained here. Let's see if we have a small verse. We'll read one more verse, otherwise we'll stop here. This one got stuck up. Sorry, it got stuck up. Yogadesham upasadhya Dharayanto Munivrataha Samahitadhiya Sarva Etad Abhyasatadrita. My dear princess, in the form of a prayer, I have delineated the yoga system of chanting the holy names. All of you should take this important stotra within your minds and promise to keep it in order to become great sages. By acting silently like a great sage and by giving attention and reverence, you should practice this method. Beautiful. In the Hatha Yoga system, one has to practice bodily exercises, dhyan, dharanas, asana, meditation, etc. One has to go, or one has to what? One has to sit in one place in a particular posture, concentrate his gaze on the tip of a nose. There are so many rules and regulations for the Hatha Yoga system that it is practically impossible to perform it in this age. You may be meditating on the tip of the nose, only a mosquito will come and sit there. That's all. Very difficult. The alternative system of Bhakti Yoga is very easy, not only in this age, but in others as well. For this yoga system was advocated long ago by Lord Shiva when he advised the princes, the sons of Maharaj Prachina Barishat. The Bhakti Yoga system is not newly introduced. For even 5,000 years ago, Lord Krishna recommended the Bhakti Yoga as a topmost yoga. As Krishna tells Arjuna in 647, Yoginam api sarvesham mankaten antaratmana Shaddavan bhajate yo mam samyukta tamomataha. Of all the yogis, he who abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. The topmost yogi is he who constantly thinks of Krishna within himself and chants the glories of the Lord. In other words, the system of Bhakti Yoga has been existing from time immemorial and is now continuing in this Krishna consciousness movement. The word Munivrataha is significant in this regard because those who are interested in advancing in spiritual life must be silent. Silent means talking only Krishna Katha. That is the silence of Maharaj Amrish. Savaimana Krishna Pada Ravindayor Vacham Sivaikuntha Gunanuvaranane. King Amrish always fixed his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord and talked of him only. We should also take this opportunity in life to become as good as a great saint simply by not talking unnecessarily with unwanted persons. We should either talk of Krishna or chant Hare Krishna undeviatingly. This is called Munivrataha. The intelligence must be very sharp, samahita dhiya, and should always be acting in Krishna consciousness. The words etad abhyasatadritaha indicate that if one takes these instructions from a spiritual master with great reverence, adritaha, and practices them accordingly, he will find this Bhakti Yoga process to be very, very easy. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagwatam ki jai, Hare Krishna.